Your destiny cannot wait. You have only one day left, and from August 20, 2025, there comes a moment in life when hesitation is no longer an option, when the soul cries out that destiny can no longer be delayed. That moment is now. You have been circling the mountain, waiting, hoping, doubting, and postponing, but destiny is not patient. It demands recognition. It will not wait for your fear, nor pause for your excuses. One day is all you have, and it is not a day of ordinary passage. It is a sacred turning point. From August 20, 2025, everything shifts, because the unseen has already been conceived within you and is pressing into visibility. The world may look the same, but you will know in your heart that the script has changed. Your role, your identity, your abundance, your calling, none of it can be postponed any longer. Life is sounding the alarm, whispering and shouting at once. Act now, believe now, claim now. For destiny never asks permission. It only waits until you finally realize it is already yours. The urgency of imagination. Destiny is now, not later. There is a truth that many refuse to face, and that is this: destiny waits for no one. It is not some distant prize hidden in a faraway tomorrow. It is always here, pressing against the walls of your present consciousness, urging you to open your eyes and claim it. The great error of mankind has always been postponement, telling themselves, one day I will, one day I shall, one day I will arrive. But destiny is not discovered in the sluggishness of delay. It is seized in the immediacy of now. What you dare to imagine today, what you dare to feel as real in this very moment, becomes the seed of the life you will encounter tomorrow. And here is the secret. There is no tomorrow except the one born of today's imagination. You cannot hope for a better life in the future if your inner state remains locked in limitation right now. Every delay is denial, every postponement is resistance, every excuse is an exile you send yourself into. And that is why destiny is urgent. It requires you to awaken in the present moment and recognize that the door you have been waiting for is already open before you. The imagination is the womb of destiny, and every vision, every dream, every desire that you carry is not a fantasy, but a seed waiting to be accepted. But seeds cannot grow if you keep them in your pocket of someday. They need the soil of conviction today. The world will tell you that patience is a virtue, that things come to those who wait, but patience is often disguised procrastination when it comes to destiny. The truth is, the only thing you are waiting for is yourself, for life will never give you more than you are willing to accept. Your destiny cannot wait because it is not outside of you. It is within you, pressing to be born, and the labor pains you feel in your frustration, your restlessness, your yearning, are simply signs that the time of delivery is near. To deny it is to cause yourself unnecessary suffering, for when the soul knows it is time, nothing can silence its cry. That is why some people suddenly walk away from careers, relationships, or lifestyles that no longer align. They are simply unable to bear the weight of ignoring destiny any longer, and you too know that stirring inside you. You know the visions that haunt your nights and the desires that pull on your heartstrings in quiet moments. Those are not random. They are maps, guiding signals pointing to where your destiny is calling. But the map is useless unless you begin the journey today. What then is the urgency of imagination? It is the realization that everything begins within. The external world is only the mirror, the shadow, the echo of your internal acceptance. You can cry for change all you want, but nothing shifts until you dare to see yourself already living the change. If you see yourself as powerless, life will bow to your image and render you powerless. If you see yourself as favored, blessed, chosen, life will bend itself in 1,000 ways to confirm your vision. What you rehearse in your imagination becomes the play the world enacts before you. Therefore, to postpone your imagination is to postpone your destiny. Think of this. You do not wait for proof before you imagine. You imagine, and proof follows. You do not wait for the door to open before you walk. You walk inwardly, and then the door swings open before you. Outer steps. The urgency lies in this law, that the world is always obedient to your inner state, and every day you delay entering the state of your fulfilled destiny, you extend your suffering in the land of not yet. And let me tell you, not yet is a thief. It steals your joy, your courage, your confidence, and leaves you stranded in a desert of waiting. How many times have you said, tomorrow I will begin, tomorrow I will believe, tomorrow I will act? And how many times has tomorrow dissolved into another tomorrow, until years have passed and you wonder where your time has gone. Truth is, it was swallowed by hesitation, but here you stand at a threshold with destiny pounding at your door saying, "No more waiting. The time is now." You must realize that imagination is not play, it is power. It is not mere wishful thinking, it is the act of creation. Every empire, every invention, every transformation began in the secret chamber of imagination. The world you live in now, both the joys and the struggles, is nothing more than yesterday's imagination crystallized, and if that is so, then tomorrow is already formed by what you dare to accept today. This is why destiny cannot wait. It does not belong to tomorrow, it belongs to the one who chooses today. Understand this deeply. When you imagine something with intensity and persistence, you are not merely entertaining a thought, you are planting a cause. The harvest is inevitable, for imagination is the soil of creation, and life itself is bound to bring forth whatever you hold within with conviction. If you persist in seeing yourself small, life will deliver circumstances to match. If you persist in seeing yourself great, abundant, victorious, life has no choice but to bring you the experiences that echo your vision. Therefore, the urgency is not external, it is internal. The urgency is in you daring to stop postponing the inner work of assumption. You must stop telling yourself, "One day I'll feel successful, one day I'll feel loved, one day I'll feel secure." No, feel it now, live it now, embody it now. The moment you shift within, destiny begins to unfold without. And remember this, when you refuse to act now, you are not punishing the world, you are punishing yourself, for the world is only a mirror. If you do not rise to your destiny, the mirror reflects back lack, limitation, and delay. But the moment you rise, the mirror reflects back abundance, opportunity, and alignment. That is why hesitation is so costly, because it keeps you trapped in a loop of your own making. But the good news is, the loop breaks the moment you decide. One decision can rewrite an entire future. One act of inner conviction can undo years of delay. One shift in imagination can collapse time itself. What you thought would take 10 years can happen in one day when you finally accept it as already done. This is why you must not wait until August 20, 2025 to act as though everything has changed. You must step into it today, so that when that day arrives, the outer world is only catching up with the inner transformation you have already lived. Your destiny is not waiting for the right conditions, it is waiting for the right decision, and the decision is not difficult. It is simply this: will you dare to believe now? Will you dare to imagine now? Will you dare to claim now? Because if you will, then the urgency of imagination will no longer feel like pressure but like liberation. You will no longer feel the burden of waiting but the freedom of knowing it is already yours. And once you live in that knowing, the world will rearrange itself with breathtaking speed to bring you evidence of what you have already accepted within. That is the power of urgency, that is the power of now, that is why destiny cannot wait. The turning point of faith. One day that changes everything. There comes a moment in every life when hesitation must give way to decision, when wavering must collapse into certainty, when faith becomes the only bridge to cross into destiny. That moment is not gradual, it is sudden, a turning point that changes everything. It is like a hinge on which the entire door of your future swings, and the hinge is made of one decisive act of faith. Faith is not passive, it is not weak acceptance or blind waiting. Faith is the bold conviction that what you have seen inwardly is more real than the evidence your senses present outwardly. Faith dares to accept as fact what the world calls impossible, and it is in this fiery act of inner certainty that the entire course of life is redirected. This is why you cannot wait until the outer world changes before you believe, for belief is the power that makes the outer world conform. You cannot wait until the opportunity arrives before you feel ready, because it is your readiness within that summons the opportunity without. The turning point of faith is that sacred instant when you refuse to be guided by appearances, and instead trust the invisible reality you have embraced in imagination. It is the moment when you stop asking, "When will it come?" and begin to declare, "It is already mine." That is the day everything changes, for the world must mirror back the state you occupy within. Faith is always a gamble, but not a gamble of chance. It is a gamble of certainty, a risk that proves itself true by the very act of taking it. The world will call you foolish for believing without proof, but proof is the child of faith, not its parent. To wait for evidence before believing is to deny faith altogether. Faith says, I believe because I have seen inwardly, and seeing inwardly is enough. And when you stand firm in that posture, life bends itself to meet your conviction. Think of it, all the great transformations in history, all the breakthroughs in invention, all the triumphs of humanity, were born of men and women who dared to believe before they saw. They reached a turning point where doubt no longer served them, where hesitation felt like death, where they knew they could not go back to living small, and in that moment they crossed the bridge of faith into destiny. You too must come to that crossing. You too must reach that turning point where you decide to stop delaying and believe without compromise. And here lies the beauty of it. The turning point does not require years. It requires one day. One single day where you dare to stand in faith and refuse to back down. That day becomes the seed of your future. It does not matter how long you have been wandering, doubting, or hesitating. When you finally choose faith, the entire past collapses and the future is reborn. You may have wasted years in fear, but one decisive act of faith cancels the wasted years and launches you into alignment with destiny. Life is not moved by time, it is moved by conviction. This is why some spend decades circling the same mountain, while others leap forward in one moment of inner transformation. It is not about how long you wait, but about how deeply you believe. One day of unwavering faith can accomplish more than years of half-hearted effort. That is the turning point you are being called into now. Faith, however, is not wishful thinking, it is embodiment. To have faith is to live from the end, to carry yourself as though the dream were already accomplished. If you desire abundance, faith demands that you live in the consciousness of abundance now, even if your pockets are empty. If you desire healing, faith demands that you live in the consciousness of wholeness now, even if your body screams otherwise. If you desire love, faith demands that you live in the consciousness of being loved now, even if loneliness surrounds you. This is the leap most people are unwilling to take, because they want to see first and then believe. But destiny does not wait for sight. It responds to faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And when you take this substance seriously, the invisible becomes visible, the unseen becomes seen, the imagined becomes actual. That is why faith is the turning point. It translates possibility into reality. But here is the test. Life will challenge you in the moment before your breakthrough. Circumstances may look worse, doubts may rise, everything around you may seem to contradict the vision within. This is not failure. It is the fire that proves your faith, for faith is only tested when appearances are loudest. And if you can stand firm in that fire, if you can hold to your conviction when everything screams otherwise, you will watch the world bow to your belief. It is in the darkest night that faith shines the brightest, and it is at the end of that night that destiny dawns. That is why so many give up too soon. They do not realize they were standing at the threshold of their turning point. They abandon faith just before the shift, but you must not abandon it. You must hold the line, for the moment you refuse to let go, tide turns in your favor, and once the turning point of faith has been crossed, life accelerates. What you once thought would take years begins to unfold swiftly. Doors open without explanation, opportunities appear out of nowhere, people are drawn into your path to assist your vision. The world that once resisted you now begins to conspire in your favor. It is as though life had been waiting all along for you to choose faith, and the moment you did, everything rushed to support your choice. This is the miracle of faith. It does not wait for circumstances, it commands circumstances. It does not hope for change, it creates change, and it does not beg for destiny, it awakens destiny. So I ask you now, what is stopping you from making this your turning point? Why wait until August 20, 2025 to decide when destiny is pressing you today? That date may be symbolic, but the real shift happens when you dare to believe now. You have only one day left, because faith always reduces destiny to this present moment. The only day you truly have is today. Tomorrow is born out of it. Therefore, today is the day of decision. Today is the day of faith. Today is the turning point. Once you cross it, everything begins to change, and when August 20, 2025 arrives, it will not be the day you begin. It will be the day the world finally catches up with what you already claimed within. Do not underestimate the power of one decision. Entire empires have risen and fallen on the hinge of one man's decision. Entire lives have been redeemed, restored, transformed in one act of faith. You too are standing at such a threshold. Will you cross it? Will you believe though your senses deny it? Will you embody your destiny though the world mocks it? If you will, then you will discover that the turning point of faith is the most powerful moment of your life, for it is the day you stop postponing destiny and begin living it. From that day forward, nothing is ever the same, because you are no longer the same. You have entered into alignment with destiny, and destiny always honors one who believes the collapse of time. Destiny moves faster than you think. Time is the great illusion, the veil that convinces you destiny is far away, hidden somewhere in the distance, waiting for years of effort, sacrifice, and struggle before it finally arrives. You have been trained to believe that all great things take time, that change must crawl slowly into your life, that destiny will one day arrive when the calendar and the clock agree it is ready. But I tell you the truth. Time is not the master of destiny. Destiny is the master of time. What you think will take 10 years can collapse into one day, 1 hour, 1 moment, if only you accept it within as already accomplished. The world is bound to your inner state, and when that state changes decisively, time has no choice but to bend. This is why some live lifetimes in delay, while others leap forward seemingly overnight. It is not about luck, nor chance, nor fate. It is about collapsing time through the power of assumption. When you embody the reality of your desire now, you pull the future into the present. You no longer wait for destiny. Destiny rushes to meet you. Think about it every moment you spend saying, "One day I'll have it. One day I'll be it. One day it will come." You are pushing your destiny away into a foggy tomorrow that never arrives. Tomorrow is always tomorrow. It never comes. But the moment you say, "It is mine now. I live it now. I am it now," you collapse the distance between where you stand and where you long to be. The mountain that seemed unmovable suddenly shifts. The obstacles that seemed permanent to solve, the time you thought you needed shortens itself into an instant. Why? Because the only time that truly exists is now, and when you fill the now with the consciousness of your fulfilled destiny, the universe has no choice but to mirror it. What was waiting years ahead suddenly unfolds in days. What you thought was impossible suddenly manifests with effortless speed. This is the collapse of time, the great secret of destiny, that everything is already finished within you, and the world simply adjusts its clock to the moment you finally believe it. Most people live in bondage to time. They say, "It will take years to save enough money, years to build my career, years to meet the right person, years to heal my wounds," and because they believe it, they live in years of delay. They chain themselves to the calendar because they cannot imagine life moving any faster than their doubt allows. But those who collapse time refuse to submit to such bondage. They dare to say, "What I desire is already mine. It is not coming, it is here. It is not far, it is near. I am not waiting, I am living it now." And because they assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, they step into alignment with destiny, and destiny responds instantly. This is why sudden breakthroughs happen, why people rise from obscurity to greatness seemingly overnight, why miracles appear as if out of nowhere. It is not luck. It is the collapse of time through inner acceptance. But collapsing time does not mean you rush in anxiety or force outcomes in desperation. No, it is the opposite. When you truly accept something within, you rest. You let go of striving, for you know it is done. You stop measuring days and counting hours, for you know that time itself is bending to your assumption. Imagine planting a seed in the ground. Once you know the seed is planted, you do not dig it up every hour to check if it is growing. You rest in the assurance that growth is happening, and soon the fruit will appear. This rest is not laziness, it is confidence, and that confidence collapses time, because when you know it is already yours, there is nothing left to wait for. You are no longer looking ahead in longing. You are living here in fulfillment, and the world, being only a mirror, has no choice but to reflect that fulfilled state into your experience. Have you ever noticed how long things take when you are desperate, but how quickly they arrive when you are certain? Desperation stretches time, but faith collapses it. Anxiety drags days into years, but inner conviction makes years dissolve into moments. This is why those who live in doubt are always waiting, while those who live in faith are always receiving. It is not because one works harder than the other, but because one has learned the secret that destiny is not bound to the clock. Time bends to belief. If you believe it must take long, it will. If you believe it can be swift, it will. If you believe it is already done, then the world collapses all appearances to reveal what was always true within. This is the mystery that so many miss, because they worship the god of time instead of the god of imagination. And so you must ask yourself, how long will you keep your destiny locked away in the prison of someday? How long will you keep telling yourself it cannot happen quickly, that you must wait for years, that life will only change after endless struggle? These are lies born of fear, and fear is a master that enslaves, but faith is a master that liberates. Faith says, I collapse time. I live my destiny now, and once you dare to live from that conviction, you will see how fast things move. People will call it sudden, but you will know it was inevitable. They will say you came out of nowhere, but you will know you came out of the now, for the now is where destiny lives. Once you accept it, time folds in on itself and delivers what you have claimed. Even science whispers this truth. Time is not fixed, it is relative. It bends, it stretches, it collapses according to perception. If this is true in the physical, how much more is it true in the spiritual, the mind, the real clock, and the moment you change your inner time, outer time shifts to follow. That is why some grow old waiting for change, while others live youthfully in the flow of constant manifestation. They are not bound by years, they are bound by conviction, and conviction always rewrites time. So hear this, your destiny does not require 10 years, it does not require 5, it does not even require 1. Your destiny requires only one thing, that you believe it is already yours. The moment you do, time collapses, and what seemed far is suddenly here, and so when you look toward August 2025, do not see it as a distant date on the calendar that holds your blessing hostage. See it as the mirror of what you are already embodying today, for if you do not claim it now, that date will come and go with nothing changed, but if you live it now, that date will explode with confirmation. It will not be the day destiny arrives, it will be the day destiny is revealed, and that revelation will appear sudden to the world, but to you it will be natural, because you will have already collapsed time in your imagination. You will have already lived it before it showed itself. That is the secret, that nothing comes to you that you have not already lived inwardly. So I tell you, stop stretching your destiny into tomorrow. Stop postponing your greatness into some distant future. Stop saying one day, when the only day you ever have is today. Collapse the time, accept it now, live it now, breathe it now, feel it now, walk in it now, for the world cannot resist a soul that has already decided. The calendar has no power over one who knows destiny is already done. The clock has no hold over one who has claimed fulfillment within. And when you step into that state, time bows to you. The years you thought you lost will fold into moments of restoration. The opportunities you thought had passed will return with greater force. The blessings you thought were delayed will arrive suddenly, overwhelmingly, abundantly, for destiny does not move slowly. It moves at the speed of your belief, and once you believe it now, time collapses, and everything you thought was far away comes rushing into your present. The power of one final act, the decision that opens destiny's door. Every great transformation in life narrows down to one decisive act, one final choice that breaks the cycle of delay and ushers destiny into manifestation. People imagine destiny as a long, drawn-out process, a gradual unfolding that takes years of effort and countless steps. But the truth is that everything converges into one defining moment of decision. This is the moment when hesitation dies, when excuses collapse, when doubt is silenced, and the soul chooses to believe, to act, to embody the reality it has carried within all along. That single act is not always visible to others. It may not be a grand gesture, it may not be announced or celebrated, but in the unseen realm, it is the earthquake that shifts everything. The power of one final act lies in the fact that it seals your inner conviction. It declares to yourself and to life that you will no longer waver between two states. You have decided, and decision is creation. To decide is to cut off all other options, to close the door on doubt, to burn the bridge of fear, to silence the whispers of delay. And when you do this, the energy of your entire being aligns behind that choice, and the world must adjust itself accordingly. This is why so many live in cycles of waiting. They have not yet reached the point of final decision. They play with ideas, they flirt with possibilities, they imagine what could be, but they never seal it with conviction. They never cross the threshold of no return. But once they do, once you do, destiny rushes in, for destiny always honors the soul that acts with finality. Think of many times in your life when you lingered on the edge of a decision, wavering, doubting, postponing, analyzing every possible outcome until you were paralyzed by indecision. You thought you needed more time, more signs, more proof, but the truth was nothing changed until you finally acted. The moment you made the decision, clarity came, opportunities appeared, energy surged, and movement began. That is the power of one final act. It unlocks what hesitation keeps closed. Destiny is never delayed by circumstances, it is delayed by indecision. The world is a mirror, and when you live in indecision, the mirror reflects back uncertainty, confusion, and delay. But when you decide, the mirror reflects back alignment, progress, and opportunity. Your one act of decision is the key that turns the lock of destiny's door. This final act does not always look the same for everyone. For some, it may be the act of walking away from something that no longer serves them. A job, a relationship, a habit, a belief. For others, it may be the act of embracing something new, taking a step of faith, launching a vision, declaring a truth, embodying a new identity. But in every case, the essence is the same. The act signifies that you are done wavering, done waiting, done living in the in-between. You have chosen, and the choice is final. This is why breakthrough often comes right after the darkest hour, for in the darkness you are forced to decide. You either give up or you rise. And those who rise in the darkness, those who choose to believe when everything looks impossible, those who act when everything screams don't, are the ones who discover that destiny was waiting for their one final act of courage. It is important to understand that the act itself is not what creates destiny, it is the inner shift it represents. The act is the outward expression of an inward decision, the visible sign of an invisible conviction. When you embody the state of the wish fulfilled within, you naturally express it outwardly, and that outward act signals to life that the choice hath been sealed. For example, when someone decides they are no longer poor inwardly, they may take an outward step that aligns with abundance. When someone decides they are already loved inwardly, they may act with confidence and grace as one who is chosen. The act does not create the state creates the act. But the act is powerful because it declares to the physical world that the state has been accepted inwardly. It is like a final stroke that completes the painting, a final word that completes the story, a final chord that resolves the music. And without it, the work remains unfinished, the song remains unresolved, the destiny remains unclaimed. This is why hesitation feels so heavy, because your soul knows it is waiting for the final act. You feel restless, uneasy, dissatisfied, because deep within you know that destiny is pressing for decision. You know the vision you have carried cannot wait forever. You know the dream that burns in your heart will torment you until you act, and the longer you postpone, the louder the restlessness grows, until you either numb yourself with distractions or finally rise and decide. That is why many people reach breaking points. Before transformation, they can no longer live with the torment of indecision. They must either collapse under the weight of delay or rise into the freedom of destiny, and those who rise discover that the act they feared for so long was the very key to their liberation. The power of one final act also lies in its ability to collapse resistance. Before the decision, your energy is divided. Part of you believes, part of you doubts. Part of you wants to move forward, part of you clings to the past. Part of you claims abundance, part of you fears lack. This divided state weakens you, drains you, and delays destiny, but the moment you decide fully, all your energy unites behind that choice. You are no longer split. You are whole, focused, aligned, and when your energy aligns, creation happens swiftly. What once seemed difficult becomes easy. What once seemed far becomes near. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. The act is powerful because it unites you with yourself, and once you are united within, the world cannot resist you without. And so I say to you, do not underestimate the power of one final act. Do not despise it, do not postpone it, do not fear it, for it is the act that changes everything. Life may look the same before it, but it will never look the same after it. You may feel powerless before it, but you will feel unstoppable after it. You may feel uncertain before it, but you will feel clarity after it. That one act is the hinge on which destiny turns, and until you make it, destiny waits. But once you make it, destiny runs to meet you. Consider the image of a door, closed, heavy, immovable. You push and push, but nothing happens. And then suddenly you press the handle, and with one simple act the door swings wide open. All the pushing, all the straining, all the frustration was unnecessary. It only took one final act, one simple decision to open what seemed impossible. This is the mystery of destiny. It does not require endless striving. It requires one final act of alignment, and when you give it, the door opens with ease. So I ask you now, what is the one act destiny is demanding of you? What is the one choice you have delayed, the one decision you have postponed, the one threshold you have refused to cross? You already know it. It has been stirring within you, pressing against your heart, whispering in your soul. It may scare you, it may stretch you, but it is the very act that will open destiny's door. Do not wait for another day, another month, another year. Do not wait until August 20, 2025 to finally decide. For if you do not claim it now, that day will pass like all the others. But if you make the decision today, if you take the final act now, then that day will not be the beginning of change. It will be the confirmation of what has already been sealed. One final act is all it takes. Not many, not endless striving, not countless steps, just one. And when you give it, destiny is unlocked. Your world shifts, your future opens, your life is transformed. That is the power of one final act, the decision that opens destiny's door. The awakening of tomorrow, the day destiny breaks forth. Every destiny has a day of unveiling, a moment when what was hidden within bursts into manifestation, when invisible becomes visible, when the dream long carried in silence steps onto the stage of reality with undeniable power. That day is not a random accident. It is the appointed hour when the inner seed ripens and demands expression. Just as a tree cannot forever hide its fruit, so too your destiny cannot forever remain unseen. There comes a tomorrow that is unlike all the other tomorrows, a tomorrow that does not delay or deceive, a tomorrow that awakens with clarity, and from that day forward everything changes. This is what August 20, 2025 symbolizes, not simply a date on a calendar, but the awakening of destiny itself, the breaking open of the reality you have long held within. It is the day when your inner world takes form in the outer world, when the vision you have nurtured finally demands acknowledgement from everyone around you. To the world it may appear sudden, but to you it will feel natural, for you will know you have lived it inwardly long before it arrived outwardly. The awakening of tomorrow is not about waiting passively for fate to unfold. It is about preparing now, believing now, embodying now, so that when the tomorrow of awakening arrives, you meet it not as a stranger but as a friend. The truth is, every tomorrow is shaped today. Tomorrow is not some mysterious force that comes out of nowhere. It is born out of the womb of today's imagination. What you accept, believe, and embody right now is the substance from which tomorrow is made. And yet, how often do people sabotage their tomorrows by poisoning today with fear, doubt, and delay? They expect a bright tomorrow while living in darkness today. They dream of abundance while rehearsing lack in their thoughts. They cry out for love while embodying loneliness. They long for freedom while clinging to chains, but destiny cannot be mocked. Tomorrow will only reveal what today has conceived. That is why you must awaken now to the power of the present moment, for every tomorrow is simply the echo of your current state of consciousness. The awakening of tomorrow, then, begins with an awakening today. When you shift within now, when you embody the fulfilled state now, tomorrow awakens with beauty, power, and transformation. Without this, tomorrow simply repeats yesterday's mistakes. So when I speak of August 20, 2025, I am not speaking of a magical day that will suddenly hand you destiny, regardless of what you do today. No, it will be the day destiny confirms what you have already claimed. If you are still wavering, delaying, doubting, then that day will pass unnoticed. But if you have already embraced your vision, lived from it, breathed it, walked in it inwardly, then that day will explode with confirmation. You will find doors opening, opportunities aligning, breakthroughs happening, not because the date itself is special, but because you finally aligned with destiny, and destiny must now reveal itself. The awakening of tomorrow is the fruit, but today is the seed. And you must plant the seed now, or tomorrow will have nothing to awaken. This awakening is not only about external change, it is about internal rebirth. The awakening of tomorrow is the day you realize you are no longer the same person you once were. You no longer think as you once thought. You no longer fear as you once feared. You no longer doubt as you once doubted. You are awakened to a new self, a new identity, a new consciousness, and because the world is always a mirror of the self, the moment you awaken within, the world awakens without. Suddenly you see opportunities that were always there but hidden by your blindness. Suddenly you attract people, resources, and circumstances that match your new identity. Suddenly you find strength, courage, and clarity where once there was only weakness, fear, and confusion. The awakening of tomorrow is not an external miracle. It is the inevitable reflection of an internal resurrection. You rise inwardly, and destiny rises outwardly. And here is the wonder: when tomorrow awakens, it does so with acceleration. What once seemed slow becomes swift. What once seemed delayed becomes immediate. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. The world cannot resist a soul that has awakened to its destiny. Life itself bends, rearranges, conspires to accommodate the awakened one. Others will look at you in disbelief. They will say, "How did it happen so quickly? How did everything change overnight?" They will not understand that you already lived it before it arrived, that you already carried it before it showed itself, that you already awakened before they saw it. To them, it will look sudden. To you, it will feel natural. For the awakening of tomorrow is never sudden to the one who hath lived it in imagination. It is only sudden to those who are blind to the unseen work. But do not miss this truth. Tomorrow will awaken with or without your preparation. Time will move forward, the day will arrive, but what it reveals depends entirely on what you embody now. You cannot blame the date, the season, or life itself for what tomorrow reveals. If tomorrow awakens with lack, it is because today was filled with lack. If tomorrow awakens with abundance, it is because today was filled with abundance. If tomorrow awakens with joy, it is because today was filled with joy. You are the author of tomorrow by the choices you make in thought and feeling today. And so the awakening of tomorrow is not passive. It is the result of deliberate inner creation. That is why destiny cannot wait. You cannot afford to keep postponing, because tomorrow is already being shaped right now. To waste today is to waste tomorrow. To claim today is to claim tomorrow. So let me speak to you plainly. August 20, 2025 is not coming to change you. It is coming to reveal you. It will unveil the person you have chosen to become, the state you have chosen to live in, the destiny you have chosen to accept. If you live today in fear, that day will reflect fear. If you live today in faith, that day will reflect faith. If you live today in lack, that day will reflect lack. But if you live today in abundance, love, victory, confidence, and fulfillment, then that day will explode with evidence of those very states. You will walk into your tomorrow not as a beggar hoping for change, but as a master revealing change. That is the awakening of tomorrow, to see with your eyes what you already embraced with your heart. And this is the great call. Stop postponing destiny into an imaginary future. Stop telling yourself, "One day I will believe, one day I will change, one day I will decide." For one day is today, and tomorrow depends on it. The awakening of tomorrow is not a distant miracle. It is the mirror of today's courage. And if you dare to live boldly now, to embrace destiny now, to embody your fulfilled state now, then tomorrow cannot help but awaken with glory. You will not wake up on August 20, 2025, wondering if your life will ever change. You will wake up knowing it already has. And as the world begins to mirror back your inner shift, you will realize that tomorrow's awakening was never about waiting at all. It was always about awakening within today. So rise now, believe now, decide now, for tomorrow is already awakening, and destiny cannot wait any longer.